everyone. Welcome to another installment of Fearless Fridays on Facebook Live. Sorry that we didn't do a Facebook Live last week. This is our first week of summer camp, as some of you may have seen on our Facebook page. So it was very busy getting all set up for the next, I guess, 8 weeks now. But it's been a great week so far, great experience. I think the campers have a really good time. And so hopefully over the summer we can continue our Fearless Live series, but also share some kind of live videos and live posts of what is going on at the camp in real time. But nevertheless, I would like to welcome Suzanne Tyson of HigherEdLearning today. So she joined me today to talk a little bit about higher education and how higher education is great for many students, but can often pose some barriers, especially in the kind of financial aspect of it. So a lot of students, would like to go to university or pursue higher education. Financially, their families can't really or don't really know how to make that happen. Or on the other side, people like me and many of my peers were fortunate enough to go to university and higher education, but now we'll be paying for that for many, many years to come. So welcome, Suzanne, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. Nice to be here.
Yeah.
Beautiful space. If you haven't visited the STEM Mind space, it's unbelievable. And the energy of all the kids in the programs is incredible downstairs, and the stuff they're creating. It's fun to see.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for coming. So to start off with, if you could maybe tell us and the lovely people on the internet a little bit more about what you do and kind of your journey and what exactly is HigherEdPoints and HigherEdLearning all about.
Okay, so HigherEdPoints is a relatively new company, and it's the first one in the world to convert loyalty points into tuition payments. And you can also use them to repay student loans. So if you know anybody that collects Aeroplan miles or TD Rewards points or CIBC Aventura points, those can be converted instead of for a flight or a trip into a tuition payment or a student loan repayment. Because people have billions and billions of these points sitting in their wallets not being used, you might as well use them for something that never goes on sale.
Yeah, so
education never goes on sale.
I was really excited to hear about that because I am an Aeroplan collector and I also have student loans. So I was like, yes, it's amazing. Because I find that especially too with when things like Aeroplan points, for you to actually be able to pay for a flight with those points, you have to rank up quite a bit of points to be able to make that happen. So I was excited that there's other possibilities that we might not have thought of before.
And everybody knows somebody that's got points. So
yes.
If you have aunts, uncles, grandparents, next door neighbor, person whose dog you've been walking because they travel all the time, they probably have some points.
Yeah, which is awesome. So another exciting and new way to pay. So what inspired you to kind of start? Because I think most of us at STEM Minds agree, and that's why we're happy to kind of partner with you guys. What inspired you to kind of create this? Because it's a very interesting kind of take and very interesting kind of new and exciting way to be able to pay for higher education. So we'd love to hear a little bit more of your story behind it.
Sure. So a number of years ago, I ran a scholarship matching company. If anybody's looking at a database now, the best place to go for scholarships is scholarshipscanada.com. And you put in a profile, and you get matched with all the different scholarships and awards. And I would go to conferences, and I would go and talk to guidance counselors and present to students about how to find these sources of funding. And what I always noticed was that the really, really smart students, the top 10, 20%, the ones that get the 90% averages, there's tons of money for those students.
Yeah. And
then the students that come from families with lower income, especially the last government put in OSAP changes that anybody with income less than $50,000 pretty much has their entire tuition taken care of. But between the financial need and the human students, you've got about 60% of students that aren't going to be able to access the financial aid to the full extent to pay for all of their tuition. And then there's the students, if you have STEM students going to Queens or Western or engineering, there's lots and lots of scholarships available for those students. There's this gap. And so I also had worked in the loyalty industry and knew that a lot of people didn't know what to do with their points or couldn't travel. We have one grad from Alberta who said, I can't afford a cab to the airport. How am I going to go on a trip? I need to pay down my student debt before I can do this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so every time I mentioned the concept to somebody, they knew somebody that helped us bring this to fruition. So it was exciting.
Yeah, very exciting and very very great, in my opinion, for more inclusive kind of spaces, I guess, in higher education. And just for me, thinking about, you know, what you do, like what really comes to mind is the whole idea of access to education. And the more opportunities you give people to be able to afford it, because obviously as much as we would like higher education to be free, it is not. So the more opportunities we give people to be able to access that opportunity to participate in higher education, the better, and the better kind of for our country and province and society as a whole. Right?
And the faster people can get out of debt, it's good debt. Education debt is very good debt. But the faster you can get out of debt, you can get on with your life. You can get married, you know, buy a house, buy a car, and start participating in the economy without the worry about the debt. And the interesting thing a lot of people don't realize is that if you can pay down chunks of your student loan before you're actually out of your grace period, you can save so much money on interest. There's a post from Brad from Ryerson on our website, 8 ways to save money on OSAP. And it talks about how much interest you can save $8,000 by starting to pay down your principal a lot faster than just doing it.
Yes, which is a lot, especially when you're first starting out. And over time, yeah, exactly, $8,000 is a lot of money. I mean, even from like a rent perspective, that could potentially be a couple months rent, right? So yeah, that's awesome. So as I was kind of doing a little bit more research when you first had contacted Anu and learning more about you, the one thing that really stood out to me is your, I don't know if you call it like your slogan or your tagline or whatever, but it stood out to me as I was looking at your website, and that's just saying that it takes a village to raise a mind. And that was something that really, really resonated with me as an educator, but also I just think it's a very powerful statement in general. So where did that sort of idea of it takes a village to raise a mind come from?
Well, I firmly believe that education unlocks everyone's potential. Yes. So education, it's so exciting for me to talk to the students here at STEM Minds and other people about what they want to do with what they're learning. Yeah. So that's a big thing for me. But the It Takes a Village to Raise a Mind came from John Mighton, the math teacher's book, The Myth of Ability, because he was talking about the fact that from a very young age, if there's a fear of science and math, and the teacher themselves are fearful, then it instills fear in the child. And so he actually was a playwright, I think, or was something to do with literature, and went back and studied math. And so he proved that if anybody can learn math, someone who was never good at math in high school was, and now he's made it his mission. So it was inspired by John Mighton. But it's really right for your very first teacher. So my two kids learned to read in JK, and the teacher who taught them to read, Mrs. Schley, Jan Schley, will always
shout out to Mrs. Schley.
And Linda Cannon was my son's SK teacher. And they were so excited when they can start putting those words together. Yeah. So that first teacher, and then their peers, and then as they go through. And a lot of studies have shown that by grade 5 and grade 6, grade 5 to grade 7, a young child has decided whether higher education is for them or not. Yes. There's never an outward conversation, but in their mind, if you ask somebody when they look back, the conversation would be, I always knew I was going to go, because it was talked about when you go to college, when you go to university. Yeah. But so in grade 5, if there are teachers out there, take a moment to recognize someone's special talent, because that tap on the shoulder is so critical for a lot of people. And the other thing I hear often, it's grade 10. Yes. So not grade 9. Grade 9, you're kind of figuring out the lay of the land. But by grade 10, I was speaking to someone yesterday who's done a lot of science workshops as well. And she said that for her, it was somebody saying in grade 10, you should apply for this. You should go and do this. And that changed her entire trajectory as well. And so it's that village of teachers and professors and parents and other, people at your community center who might be participating. Someone here is going to inspire STEM Mind. Someone's going to inspire somebody to carry on.
I mean, that's the hope as well, right? That's the hope, and that's fantastic. And I think that's something that is very, very similar. Like you seem to hold very similar values that we do at STEM Minds, and especially me personally, because I know I've talked about this before. Probably time and time again, our viewers are probably like, Sam, stop telling this story, but it's powerful for me, so I like to share it. Where I was in a very similar boat, and that's kind of what I'm hoping that I can do as a teacher for kids is that. I was never really strong in math and science, and so I never thought it was something that was for me. So I actually come from an art arts background. And so now being in the kind of STEM field and inspiring kids who maybe don't necessarily consider themselves also like good at math or good at science, that it doesn't matter if you like it, you can still do it, you can still, you know, figure it out. And all it really takes is that like one really positive influence in your life to like ignite a spark. Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and that's what we should all kind of be thinking of when we're dealing with young people. So
and so for my high school background, I took chemistry and physics, and in grade, I don't know why I took physics in I think it was grade 11.
Yeah.
And I had a problem. I don't know whether I actually have an LD when it comes to looking at the numbers, but my physics teacher, I didn't ever know. I knew what to do. I just didn't know which numbers to use. Yeah. And that physics teacher said to me, just explain to me what you would do if you knew which numbers were supposed to go someplace, and we'll give you at least partial marks because you understand the concept.
Yeah.
And that actually engaged me in the topic a lot more than, you know, it has to be the right answer.
Yeah.
Because if you start with the end result, what are you trying to create with your 3D? They have 3D printers downstairs.
Yes.
What are you trying to create with that 3D printer? The steps to get there are sort of secondary to achieving that end goal.
Absolutely. And that's something that, you know, as teachers, we always kind of take a focus on as what we call like backwards design or backwards kind of planning when we're looking at lessons, or we're looking at how to structure learning environments. And that is, you start with the end goal in mind. So what is it at the end of this process that I actually want my students to achieve? And, you know, what are the steps I'm going to take or they're going to take along that path to get them there? So that's fantastic.
And
it sounds like you have a STEM mind.
You can see that in so many product designs. I love going into stores like IKEA and Umbra and stuff because you know it's a chair, but look at how functional this chair can be. Yeah, and all that comes from the science and the design piece of it as well.
That's probably why we love IKEA furniture so much as semis. If something is not like personally built by our industrial designer, it is probably bought and hacked from IKEA.
I love IKEA.
IKEA is the best. So I guess as kind of a final point, I wanted to kind of get your perspective on why you think it's important to start looking at higher education, and especially financial literacy for young students who are going to be going into higher education, and why we need to sort of start, I guess, evolving our thinking and evolving the way that we kind of approach these areas and think about them. Like, what's your perspective on why do you think it's important for us to kind of even really be talking about this today?
Well, I think if you're looking at education specifically, being able to fund education and being able to have the funds to get in the first place and pay the fees and the deposits and then fund yourself while you're there is very important. Mm-hmm. So having a plan from the time your child is a baby is important. And you hear it all the time, but if people can invest in their RESP, the compound interest on that RESP is going to carry a lot. You know, it's going to be a lot of free money by the time that child gets there. But there are studies out there for young children that show even if you put a little bit of money aside, even if a grandparent or an aunt or uncle puts $500 into an RESP, that changes that conversation. Yeah. So that's the first part about funding higher education. The other thing is a lot of students that may not have come from families that attended may not see themselves in that environment. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of work right now with Indigenous communities about showing them, you know, you don't have to leave your community even. You can actually study in your community just instead. But of course it's free. It's for everybody. Education. And so picturing themselves, the first barrier that comes up is how am I going to pay for it? And so the former government tried to eliminate a lot of those barriers. And in the wording said, we're going to make it free. The tuition's free. It'll never be totally free because you have to live. You have to eat and there's $4 wages while you're at school. But understanding that if you want to go, there's always a way to find the means to go. Yes. And through companies like HigherEdPoints and Scholarships Canada and the government of Ontario and the federal government with the funding that's there, if somebody wants to go, they can find a way to go. And I think it just unlocks so much human potential and so much economic potential as well, education. And in terms of the financial literacy piece, there's so much stress that every person experiences if they don't feel financially stable. If you don't have a bit of a buffer, food security is an issue. You know, on campus, food is currency. There are food banks on campuses now, which actually is frightening to me. Yeah, that students can't pay for their own food.
Oh, it's crazy.
And so understanding, a lot of students will go into first year university or college with $5,000. They've saved it, and they find very quickly that it's gone. So understanding the inflows and the outflows are critical as well. There's not enough I prefer to think of it as financial wellness,
Yes,
as opposed to financial literacy, because financial literacy sounds burdensome, whereas
that is
financial
true.
fitness and personal fitness seem to be kind of life skills that
Yeah,
we need.
absolutely. Yeah, and you can never have too many life skills. I like to say. I mean, everything. You know, my perspective is kind of that like everything you do and everything you learn in turn is a life skill. It's something, whether that experience, you know, was positive or was negative, it's something you're going to learn from it, something you're going to carry with. And the more you can kind of prepare yourself or help prepare your kids at a younger age for how to kind of at least recognize that these are, you know, important things I need to know or need to at least consider, the better off they're going to be in the future. So is there anything else you would like to say to our lovely viewers before we kind of sign off?
Check out STEM Minds. I'm blown away by what
you.
goes on here, and especially bring your girls. So if you have a reluctant mathematician or a science child in your home, have them come, because the activities I've seen with the short time I've been here are really fun. And just hug a teacher today.
Yes, oh my gosh.
They're creating the minds of the future.
Yeah. We love when the kids give us positive sort of feedback, because any sort of positive feedback from the kids knows that like we're doing something right. So yeah, check out HigherEdPoints as well, because like I said, it's an amazing program. HigherEdPoints is actually coming to STEM Minds, so we are now partnering as part of the program. So sometime in the near future, you will actually be able to pay for STEM Minds classes and courses and all the different kind of stuff that we do with HigherEdPoints as well. So stay tuned for a little bit more details on that coming shortly. And other than that, thank you so much, Suzanne, for being here.
Thank you, Sam.
And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you again next Friday. Bye for now, everyone.
Okay.